called a bragging right. Airing weekdays at 4, join me, Sandra Ezekwesili, your moderator on 99.3 Nigeria Info FM, and later on Wazobia Max TV. This tournament is brought to you by Paystack in association with Sunu Assurances, supported by OBWC.com, RLG Communications, Stovia Industries, Just Delight Non-Dairy Ice Cream, and Wazobia Max TV.
It's week 2 of the I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions. This is the next level of the I Beg to Differ debate tournament. We've brought back the best of the best secondary school debaters from the first 4 tournaments. Champions, runners-up, and impressive performers. The battle to get into the quarterfinals is heating up. Yesterday, Deborah Pamzat booked her place in the last 8 by beating Chiagozie Isido Ogbonna Ugu. That particular debate is still available if you want to watch it. That result also put Tanvita Kaushik in the quarterfinal from Group A. It's Tuesday, so we are back in Group B again. Remember, we've got 4 groups of 3 debaters each. The top 2 from each group will move on to the knockout rounds. 12 group stage matches, 4 quarterfinals, 2 semifinals, 1 final. 1 winner, 2 million naira. Yes, I keep saying we've doubled the prize money so that we can lure the past champions out of retirement. Best way we win 1 million, you have to make it worth their while. A big thank you to all our sponsors and partners who have made I Beg to Differ happen. Paystack is our headline sponsor. Paystack helps businesses accept online and offline payments from international and local customers. They also have a POS called Terminal. Terminal lets customers pay you in person, by card, bank transfers, and USSD. Sunu Assurances is our associate sponsor. Sunu says, you pick your way, we take your risk. They provide motor insurance, marine insurance, fire insurance, house owner and householder insurance, and so much more. For more information, you can visit their website, www.sunuassurancesnigeria.com. Sunuassurances.Nigeria.com. OBWC.com has prizes for all our debaters. OBWC.com is Nigeria's home of brand new and pre-owned gadgets with warranty. So they've provided 12 smartwatches for our 12 debaters. They're currently in their goodie bags. Their Instagram handle is at OBWeezy. OBWeezy is spelled OBIWEZY. That's all small letters. That way you don't get scammed. OBWeezy has a laptop for whoever becomes the champion of champions at the end of this tournament. RLG also has tablets for every quarter finalist. RLG is a Nigerian original equipment manufacturer based in Ilesha, Osun State. They manufacture laptops, desktop computers, decoders, smart electric meters, power banks, and yes, tablets. The I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions is also supported by Stover Industries Limited. Stover Industries makes Swiss flower air fresheners and Swiss beauty and body care products. They're located at 1719 Oshokpe Plaza, Allen Avenue, Ikeja, Lagos. We also have support from Just Delight Non-Dairy Ice Cream. Just Delight is Nigeria's plant-based ice cream. If you're lactose intolerant, Just Delight says this is the ice cream for you. And they're providing ice cream to our debaters today. So, you know, if you win, great. If you lose, great. If you draw, great. Either ways, you're going to get refreshment from Just Delight. Now that you've met our partners, Lagos, let's debate. Like I said, today's debate is the second debate for Group B. So let me introduce the judges. Our first judge is one of the judges from the first 2 editions. So November 2021 and March 2022. And he's rejoining us for the Tournament of Champions. He is an accountant in South Africa. Ronald Asiebo, welcome to the Tournament of Champions. Our second judge is one of our regulars here on I Beg to Differ, joining us from Canada. Legal practitioner Adenike Arobonlo. Our third judge is a doctor in the United Kingdom, Dr. Nduka Zuchi. And our fourth judge is our chief judge on I Beg to Differ. He's a real life chief. He's a product manager by day, Chief Andy Oboforibo. Now that you've met the judges and the sponsors, let's introduce our debaters. Lagos, here is our first debater. He's the second seed here in Group B. He was runner-up in the May 2022 edition and a quarter-finalist in the November 2021 edition. Hameed Olanrewaju, welcome to the Tournament of Champions.
Thank you, Mom.
Our second debater, you've already met her last week. You met her the first time in 2021 and she won in March 2022. She's the number one seed here in Group A. And this is her second match in this tournament. Ruth Okorocha, welcome back to the Tournament of Champions. All right, the contestants have been told the rules, but here they are again. And this is for the benefit of Lagos. Now, I'll give you a topic. One of you will be in support. One of you will oppose. You will each first get 3 minutes to present your positions. Then you each get another 3 minutes in the rebuttal round to address the points your opponent made. And finally, you'll get another 3 minutes for closing arguments. The clock is the clock. Once it starts, I will not pause it until the 3 minutes are up. The judges will score all rounds based on number, quality, originality of unique points made. If you repeat a point, no matter how eloquently you repeat it, your score will not increase. Clarity of thought and eloquence of presentation if you want to win. Number of your opponent's points that you address during the rebuttal round, very important. The strength of your rebuttal of each point determines who wins. Since this is group stage, if your scores are tied, there will not be a tiebreaker round. The debate is a draw. After all the group stage matches, the two debaters with the most wins go through to the quarterfinals. Where we have two debaters with the same number of wins, the number of draws will be used to break the tie and decide who moves on to the quarterfinals. Now, we're going to get into all of that, but today, let's talk about this particular debate. You already know your topic. Traditional rulers have outlived their purpose. Traditional rulers have outlived their purpose. Now, let's decide who supports and who opposes. I've got a coin to decide this. You take a look. There's an actual head and there's an actual tail, so it's not a false coin. Head and tail. Ruth, because you are our top seed in your group, you will decide heads or tails. If the coin lands on the one you choose, you're going to support the motion. If it lands on the other side, you'll oppose the motion. Call it?
Tails.
Tails. All right. Heads it is. So we've got heads here, which means that you will oppose that traditional rulers have outlived their purpose. And Hameed Olanrewaju, who, by the way, his first name is Olanrewaju and his surname is Hameed. I just learned that. But, you know, when the applications come in with there's no differentiation, which is the surname and which is the first name. So I've always called him Hameed. My apologies. His name is Olanrewaju. All right. So he will support that traditional rulers have outlived their purpose. We'll take a break. When we come back from this break, Lagos, it will be time for round one of today's episode of the Tournament of Champions.
Some are calling Group B the Group of Deaths as they beg to differ Tournament of Champions. Hameed Olanrewaju is a past quarter-finalist and finalist and has only ever been beaten by champions. He wants revenge against Anvita Kaushik and Esther Bewaji, but first, he must make it out of this group. Redemption is also calling for Ramadan Oladipupo, the people's champion. Beaten in a controversial semi-final, he's here to prove that maybe he should have been in this group as an actual champion. But that title belongs to Ruth Okorocha. She beat the debater who beat Ramadan. Can she beat him too? Find out this March at the I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions on 99.3 Nigeria Info and Wazobia Max TV.
Are you a business owner who's looking to boost sales? Check out Paystack Terminal. Paystack Terminal is a POS that helps you accept payments in multiple ways, including ATM cards, bank transfers, and USSD. Additionally, you can track sales in real time on your phone, even if you have multiple terminals in multiple stores. Paystack Terminal also comes with a global SIM card and fast Wi-Fi, so you never have to say the words "no network," and your customers never have to wait to confirm payments. What's more, you can connect Terminal to your existing POS systems, split your payouts into multiple bank accounts, do easy end-of-day accounting, and so much more. Paystack Terminal is the smart choice for ambitious businesses of all sizes. Visit paystack.com/beg to differ to get yours. Again, that's paystack.com/beg to differ.
Some are calling Group B the Group of Death at their Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions. Hameed Olanrewaju is a past quarter-finalist and finalist and has only ever been beaten by champions. He wants revenge against Anvita Kaushik and Esther Bewaji, but first, he must make it out of this group. Redemption is also calling for Ramadan Oladipupo, the people's champion. Beaten in a controversial semi-final, he's here to prove that maybe he should have been in this group as an actual champion. But that title belongs to Ruth Okorocha. She beat the debater who beat Ramadan. Can she beat him too? Find out this March at the I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions on 99.3 Nigeria Info and Wazobia Max TV.
All right, time for round one, the presentation round. Let's start with the motion supporter, Olanrewaju Hameed, and then we'll go to the motion opposer. Olanrewaju, your 3 minutes start now.
Given the rapid rate of modernization in the country, many Nigerians have been forced to ask the peculiar question, what is the role of traditional leaders in today's society? Good day, prestigious panel of judges, most accurate timekeeper, and of course, my ever-esteemed audience. My name is Hameed Olanrewaju, and today I'm here to prove that traditional leaders have in fact outlived their purpose in today's society with the following points which are prepared. The first of which being the fact that the most fundamental part of a traditional leader's position is the position of ruler. He is meant to be the economic and social leader of his people. But given that all traditional leaders inside the Republic of Nigeria are no longer recognized as sovereign, their crowns have been whittled down to less than even ceremonial. Next is the fact that traditional leaders once served as the military defenders of their people. These were the people who, during times of war, acted as the shield of the people from outside attacks and the sword in retaliation when it was necessary. But now, with the advent of the Nigerian armed forces, they're no longer necessary for this task. Next is the fact that they once served as the judges of critical issues amongst their people. Things such as land disputes, theft, and sometimes even rapes and murders were sorted out by the traditional rulers. However, in today's society, with the Nigerian justice system, they're no longer needed for this as well. Another thing we need to look at is the fact that traditional leaders are meant to be the religious heads of some of the traditions that they lead. But given the fact that in today's society that 92.8% of Nigerians are either Christian or Muslims, it seems that this role is also quickly coming to an end. Another fact we need to be careful of is the fact that traditional leaders are meant to serve as peacemakers in their communities. However, in order to stay relevant, they find themselves in the middle of more trouble than they seem to solve. Keep in mind people such as the current Oluwo of Iwo, that is now on suspension because he found himself in various arguments with other people. Next is the fact that traditional leaders used to be the pillar of moral and virtue in the society. But we have to realize that they lost that position long ago when they could even sell some of their own people to the British for cheap household items. Another thing we need to look at is that the traditional leaders used to be a symbol of power, near absolute power. These figures, seen as near to God himself, could not be questioned in any of their decisions. But now we have a situation by which state governors and even sometimes local government chairmen can even dethrone your traditional rulers. Next is the fact that they used to serve as a symbol of cultural pride amongst their people. However, they only served as a symbol of cultural pride amongst their people because of the roles they used to fulfill. Without fulfilling these roles now, they are mere men like me and you. Finally is the fact that they used to serve that traditional rulers, with all their people moving away from their ethnic lands in search of greener pastures, what good is a king that doesn't have a kingdom? Men and women who were once tumultuous rulers no longer have subjects they can even say underneath them. Another point is the fact that traditional leaders nowadays seem to be more concerned with issues that have nothing to do with their society. My name is Hameed Olanrewaju. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Hameed Olanrewaju. Well done. Now 20 seconds left. Lagos, let me remind you that you can watch this live on Facebook. Nigeria Info 99.3. We've got YouTube as well, Nigeria Info FM. Ruth Okorocha will argue that traditional rulers have not outlived their purpose. Ruth, you've got 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, moderator, adjudicators, my opponents, attentive listeners and viewers. I'm Ruth Okorocha, negating the resolution, traditional rulers have outlived their purposes. We as a country should not forget the significant roles that traditional rulers used to play, to the extent that the colonial governments could not eradicate them but had to rule through them. And this helped them to gain experience of the type of politics and government that we are practicing today. And if the political class could learn from them, which could go back on so much backwardness that we're experiencing today, and this could be a root cause that no one is talking about. The widespread peace that we enjoy in different parts of our country can be accredited to the behind-the-scenes roles that are played by these traditional rulers in keeping our peace. Of course, people can be strong-headed, they can refuse to comply, but these are mostly when they're dealing with law enforcement agencies. Because of the respect that are accorded to these traditional rulers, they are at a better position at promoting peace. Most people say that traditional rulers have become political and are no longer interested in preserving our culture, but this is not the fact, because most of them are still determined to remain relevant in the facilitation of our cultural orientation. An example is the Oni of Ife, who visited Canada in a Nigeria-dominated area, and he came there with a trail with their cultural outfits and composure were screaming, "I'm Nigerian, you're about to be precise, and I'm proud of it." And he also mobilized people there, first of all, praising them for the peace that they've kept so far, and then urging them in his words to remember home. In addition, traditional rulers have a higher ability to respond to emergency situations prior to the failure of our law enforcement agencies. An example is the terror that happened in Lagos during the 1 million boys insurgencies. This was tackled because of the timely intervention of our traditional rulers. In my community, for example, where the police would only arrive hours after the boys had carried out their attack, these traditional rulers deployed strong vigilante group that helped to protect us. We should also not forget that the respect and trust that accorded to these traditional rulers are of no joke, and something that the political class have been unable to achieve and would not achieve in the nearest future. And this can be able to ensure compliance and also promote legitimacy and discourage political party. Speaking of political party, in Okeogun, not area of Oyo State, these people with a population of over 1 million were so inactively involved in their politics. But this year there was a difference because the traditional rulers mobilized the people to participate in their democracy. Traditional rulers also helped to promote to clear disputes. For example, the Nyanya Kashin clash that happened in Abuja, or the dispute that happened in Lagos between hoodlums and police in Mushin. Now, these youths, they are always trying to create stuff, they are always trying to go head to head with their police officers. And this would be very difficult. This would make things very difficult in their rehabilitation. But how many cases have you heard of hoodlums going against their traditional rulers? Because whenever the traditional rulers call on them, they are always willing to listen and obey, which would be a good thing for their rehabilitation and reformation. We should also not forget that traditional rulers have a longer tenure. In fact, they spend almost all their lifetime with the people. Therefore, they know the people more than the political leaders who spend a fixed tenure. Now, this helps them. We need this both sides because traditional rulers can be able to access the weaknesses and strengths of the people, and then the political class can access this information in implementation and formulation of policies, so they don't give policies that are always on the bad side of the citizens, like the Naira redesign policy. Also, in the past, traditional rulers used to be mediators between the people and the ancestors, but not many of us want to speak to our ancestors these days. But we need to hold our government responsible. So they serve as a link between the people and the government to hold our government responsible. Lastly, despite the emergence of our law courts, many rural dwellers still want to go to the traditional law to settle disputes and even criminal matters because they are more accessible and cheaper than the law courts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right on time, too. Okay. All right, Ruth. We see you. Lagos. We're streaming live on Facebook. Nigeria Info 99.3. YouTube, Nigeria Info FM. I am Sandra Ezekwesili, your moderator. We'll take a break. When we come back from this break, we're going to move on to the second round, the rebuttal round of this debate. We'll start with the motion opposer when we come back, and then we'll move to the motion supporter.
Some are calling Group B the Group of Death as they beg to differ Tournament of Champions. Hameed Olanrewaju is a past quarter-finalist and finalist and has only ever been beaten by champions. He wants revenge against Anvita Kaushik and Esther Bewaji, but first, he must make it out of this group. Redemption is also calling for Ramadan Oladipupo, the people's champion. Beaten in a controversial semi-final, he's here to prove that maybe he should have been in this group as an actual champion. But that title belongs to Ruth Okorocha. She beat the debater who beat Ramadan. Can she beat him too? Find out this March at the I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions on 99.3 Nigeria Info and Wazobia Max TV.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. It's now time for round 2, the rebuttal round. Let's start with Ruth Okorocha, the motion opposer.
Thank you very much. First of all, you asked the question, role of traditional rulers. But I listed so many roles in my presidential role, and those were the roles that they play, and they are still playing to this day. In your first point, you mentioned that the most fundamental position is that of the rulers, and now we now have a government, and we don't need them again, and they only perform ceremonial functions. Well, they also assist. The fact that they're not in the forefront doesn't mean they're not doing their roles. They're acting behind the scenes. They're acting as the foundation and pillars of the democracy and politics that we're practicing today. Secondly, you mentioned that they no longer that they were military defenders in the past, but that's no longer necessary because we now have a strong defense system. Who says we have a strong defense system? We need the information that these traditional rulers provide to us in order to access our security problems in the country. Also, you mentioned that they no longer settle land disputes. Like, seriously, most of the land disputes issues we have in our country are settled by these traditional rulers. They are the best people to settle this land disputes, thefts, and so on. And they do that more credibly than our law courts. Thirdly, you mentioned that traditional rulers do no longer include tradition. When I say tradition, it's not about our culture. It doesn't have to be about religion. And to include our religion of this, we have some traditional that are Christian, Muslims. We go to the north, for example, we have the Muhammad Sani, so we have the Sultan of Sokoto. They have Muslims, and they also promote that religion. If you come to the west, we have Christians and Muslims, traditional. So they also promote religion. It doesn't necessarily have to be the tradition that we worship the gods in those days. You also mentioned that traditional rulers are symbols near to God power. Back then, nobody checkmated. But this is not correct. Even back then, why they were still playing roles of supreme, they had checks and balances. Like the Council of Elders could say, okay, the king, you're not doing this thing correctly. Look how it should be. The people can come up and say, KBS, we don't agree with this thing that you're saying. They also used to dethrone kings and rulers and of that time. Also, you say that they involve themselves in disputes. Well, giving me one example does not mean that the thousands of traditionalists we have in Nigeria involve themselves in disputes. Then you also say that they serve cultural roles which they no longer enforce, but this is not correct. And then you also say that moving away from their lands, people move away from their lands. Well, that is why we have traditional rulers. If we don't have traditional rulers, then like the only of Ife who visited Canada, Nigerians in Canada will forget that they have a place called home and they come from a heritage that they need to preserve and not forget. That's why we have these traditional rulers to remind these people that no matter where they are, they should always remember that home is always calling on them. Then lastly, you mentioned that issues have nothing to do with they are present issues that have nothing to do with the society. But this is not correct because most of the things that they do, most of the roles that they do are enforced and able to are used in society. Most are related to societal issues. What roles do they play if not for the society what they're based in? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruth Okorocha. Well done. All right. Again, let me remind you, Lagos, you can watch this live on Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3. We've got YouTube as well, Nigeria Info FM. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. It's time to hear from Olanrewaju Hameed. Your 3 minutes start now.
All protocols duly observed. You said that the colonial government needed our traditional rulers in order to take over the country, but they didn't necessarily. They just wanted to do it in the most peaceful way possible. With the inadequacies our traditional rulers even presented back then towards our modern day society, the British could have easily pushed them out of the way if they so felt like taking the violent route. Next, you said widespread peacekeeping of traditional rulers. Excuse me, some traditional rulers actually incite more trouble than the peace that they keep. Keep in mind that the Oba of Lagos, when Ambode was running, he threatened to throw a certain group of people into a river if they do not vote for his preferred candidacy. Why is somebody who is meant to be a father to all of the state now putting himself personally into issues affecting the state? Next is the fact that you said we can learn from the way that they resolve issues. Excuse me, some of these traditional rulers resolve issues customary way, and the customary way in some places, like the killing of twins or like cutting off of genitals in order to bring on fertility for other people. Some of them still believe in all these old ways that the gods are still among us. But by us being enlightened, by now we should know that some of these things are not even possible. Next, you say keeping the culture alive. If people are already moving away with the traditional rulers already in place, how can you tell me that the traditional rulers continuing to be in place will serve as a deterrent from them moving away into the more modern society? You also said that traditional rulers, that some hoodlums have respect for their traditional rulers. This is even more of a threat. Because that means that if these traditional rulers should call on these so-called hoodlums that are loyal to them, that means they will respond. And this could lead to even a rebellion within our states. Next, you said traditional rulers promote democracy. You say that as if it's all traditional rulers. Some traditional rulers meddle in democracy, but not in the hopes of promoting it. They do this so that they themselves, because they can feel themselves becoming more irrelevant as time passes, they do this in an advent to make themselves more powerful for later days and occurrences. Next, you said they serve between a link between the people and the democratic leaders. Why should a traditional ruler need to serve as a link between the people and the democratic leaders? I feel like this just shows how weak our democracy is, and that's because we keep encouraging institutions that somehow segregate the central powers of our constitution. Next, you said that they settled disputes but the problem I have there is not necessarily them settling disputes. You said it's because they're cheaper. Excuse me, if something that is usually cheaper, especially here in Nigeria, is usually not better, it's better for you to go the long, arduous, and usually expensive route to get the best possible results. Another thing you said is that our traditional leaders spend longer times with our people. Yes, they do. Some traditional leaders rule for over 60 years. But yet, in the short advent of democracy we've had in Nigeria for almost like 40 years now, we have seen massive leaps in technology, infrastructure, and all other things. Traditional leaders that were battling with themselves over space, some they were even battling within themselves so they can vie for supremacy amongst their people. Are these the kind of people you're telling me that were helping their people because they were closer to them?
All right, thank you very much, Hameed Olanrewaju. Well done. I love debate. Okay, we'll take a break. When we come back from this break, it will be time for closing. You're listening to the Tournament of Champions. This is Group B of the I Beg to Differ Debate Tournament of Champions. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, your moderator. Lagos, don't go away.
Some are calling Group B the Group of Death at the I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions. Hameed Olanrewaju is a past quarter-finalist and finalist and has only ever been beaten by champions. He wants revenge against Anvita Kaushik and Esther Bewaji, but first, he must make it out of this group. Redemption is also calling for Ramadan Oladipupo, the people's champion. Beaten in a controversial semi-final, he's here to prove that maybe he should have been in this group as an actual champion. But that title belongs to Ruth Okorocha. She beat the debater who beat Ramadan. Can she beat him too? Find out this March at the I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions on 99.3 Nigeria Info and Wazobia Max TV.
Hey, you know when I'm here, I've got good news for you. Yes, Paystack helps businesses like yours accept payments online from anyone, anywhere in the world, in any currency. So let's say you have customers in Nigeria, Ghana, the USA, or Malaysia. They can pay you online. Even if they don't have Naira, they can pay you in dollars or CDs or pounds or euros, any currency that works for them. And you get paid. That's why over 60,000 businesses, startups, and government agencies are using Paystack right now. Paystack is powering their growth. And if you choose Paystack today, you get free access to all the tools they're using. If you're just starting, these tools will help you launch your business and start getting paid. If you're already operating, they'll help you scale faster. I mean, what are you waiting for? Well, if you're wondering, what are these tools? If you don't have a website, Paystack helps you create one for free without any technical skills. There's the free mobile app for managing sales and orders even while you're on the move. And if you want to send invoices, fiam, you can do it right from the app or website, and your customer can pay you online. And that's just the beginning of what Paystack can do for you. So I know you want to get started. I mean, guess what? It's easy. Just open your free account at paystack.com/beg to differ. That is paystack.com/beg to differ. Sign up for free, and right away, you can access all the tools you need to get started and scale your business while getting paid from anyone, anywhere, and in any currency. So what are you waiting for? Head over to paystack.com/beg to differ and get started.
Some are calling Group B the Group of Death at the I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions. Hameed Olanrewaju is a past quarter-finalist and finalist and has only ever been beaten by champions. He wants revenge against Anvita Kaushik and Esther Bewaji, but first, he must make it out of this group. Redemption is also calling for Ramadan Oladipupo, the people's champion. Beaten in a controversial semi-final, he's here to prove that maybe he should have been in this group as an actual champion. But that title belongs to Ruth Okorocha. She beat the debater who beat Ramadan. Can she beat him too? Find out this March at the I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions on 99.3 Nigeria Info and Wazobia Max TV.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, your moderator. We've got Olanrewaju Hameed here, Ruth Okorocha here as well. Olanrewaju Hameed says that traditional rulers have outlived their purpose. However, Ruth says they haven't. Now, Olanrewaju has 3 minutes to close his arguments. They start now.
In the course of the to close up my argument, I'd like to finish by stating some points I might have missed out the first time. The first being the fact that since the advent of having traditional rulers, more effective ways of running government have since emerged, such as democracies and even some forms of oligarchy and autocracies. But that is not to say that traditional rulers have since become outdated, especially now in our modern times, that they themselves are starting to see the writing on the wall. You have some traditional rulers that when Nigeria was founded, that their offices were merged together. What is the merging together of an office? They should just remove it altogether. You're disgracing the cultures of these people's, which these rulers were once matriarchs and patriarchs of. Speaking of cultures, if traditional rulers have to stay to show that cultures are still valid, then I'm sorry to say, but those cultures are already going to be lost to the sands of time, like a lot of cultures that came before them. Another thing you said is a traditional, but let me move on to some of the rebuttals that you made. You said that the roles are not necessarily ceremonial. Well, it's true that traditional rulers sometimes act as filling rulers amongst the people, such as community leaders. But these community leaders, they don't have any real power. Sure, aside from saying that, maybe we should paint the grass here, or we should plant more flowers here to make our community look nicer, they don't necessarily have any actual power behind their offices. Another thing is the fact that you said that traditional rulers still settle land disputes. Traditional rulers have been linked to some of the families that have been in that land for generations. Given the fact that Nigeria is an expanding economy, we don't need people who will be giving lands back to the people who they know their forefathers originally owned those lands. We need a central government who will be fair and precise in their measurements. If that the person who owns the land does not have any real use for it, why are we allowing them to keep it? Then you said that traditional rulers were kept at bay by checks and balances. Men and women seen as to be holy men and women, people that were seen as almost godlike within their countries, people who revolted against them. The moment they were caught in that revolt, they were gone. Next, I'd like to say the fact that they used to be a symbol of pride amongst the cultures they used to represent, but this was only due to the fact of the roles they used to fulfill. Due to the fact they no longer fulfill those roles and purposes, what's the point of having traditional rulers now? Next thing I'd like to point out is the fact that he said they do not meddle in issues that have nothing to do with them. They do. Some issues that are currently going on. You have to remember, why is somebody who was in the position to become the Emir or Kanu running the Central Bank of Nigeria? These are people, sure, you could say that the experience that they've garnered growing up in a household of a monarch will be necessary in such positions, but you can also see where this will quickly go wrong, where corruption will come into play. In Nigeria, in a country that even in a democracy, we don't trust the amounts of the lack of corruption that we claim we have, is now under where few people hold power. You now want to tell me that this will be a more efficient way of running a country? It's clearly not so. Also, you said that traditional leaders are Christians and Muslims. You yourself, listen to it. How can we have...
Thank you very much, Hameed Olanrewaju, and well done. Yes, the bell always catches Olanrewaju. Can I call you Lanre? All right, I can call you Lanre. Ruth, we've got 3 minutes for you to close. Those 3 minutes start now.
Well, because of time, I want to give my closing arguments before I rebut some of his points. So, creating organizations like the Council of Traditional Rulers in Nigeria helps to facilitate unity. During one of the emergency meetings that he had in November 2020, the Sultan of Sokoto, during giving his opening remark, he said that from sitting up there, I recognize our sitting position. We are mixed. It's not a north, east, west, south something. It's not a Christian, Muslim, or whatever. And this is how we want Nigeria to be. He also urged politicians to emulate this behavior. When discussing issues of political and national interest, they are usually apolitical because they don't belong to political parties or groups that are politically sponsored, which are blunt, fair, and when they are giving their disposition or their ideas. And also, we can have traditional rulers as a backup plan because our government is always failing us. And whenever they do this, we can always rely on the traditional system. And because whenever the fathers call, they'll listen. And also, traditional rulers help to promote the uniqueness in our diversity while still promoting unity. So they say to us, primarily, we are Nigerians and we have to act as one. But secondly, we all have lineages that we must not forget and we must preserve. And these people, the way the caps on their head have different designs, so are the ethnicity that they preserve. Lastly, of course, in Nigeria, we have so many issues. We have economic issues, political issues, but at least we have more sane people in Nigeria than the United States. And when I'm talking about sane, I'm talking about mad people on the street. I'm talking about morality. So a 14-year-old could do something in America that if a 30-year-old does in Nigeria, because it's wrong, that person will get criticized. And this is a very good thing that traditional rulers have been able to inculcate into us, that even if we don't have so much to be proud about, we can easily win any argument that says Nigeria is a better place to raise a kid than the United States. With my time left, I'm going to rebut some of the point that you made. Now, second to the last rebuttal that you gave, you said, why would the traditional ruler go on to become the central bank governor? You're talking about Mohammed Sanusi. Well, he was a central bank governor before he became a traditional ruler. And because they are traditional rulers does not mean they're not allowed to have different experiences. It's allowed that is very good in their role, so they're able to know the people more and see the development, so they don't become like primitive, so the people can then influence them. Rather, they'll be the ones that will be in charge of whatever the people are doing. And also, you mentioned that their roles are not in the constitution. Well, the roles of your parents are also not in the constitution, but they have to lead them because it's necessary. So being not in the constitution does not mean that they cannot bring it to realization. And also, we also have in the constitution things that will be able to check the activities of these people. Like you mentioned, the Oba of Lagos example that you gave. In the north, for example, the Emir of Kano was the throne because of his behavior. That means you can checkmate them. When they do something wrong, you can be able to check what they are doing. And also, you mentioned the killing of twins. Well, they say culture is dynamic. That means we can upgrade our culture. We can change some things. So killing of twins no longer exists in Nigeria as we speak right now. So nobody's killing twins. Then you also mentioned that they don't resolve issues. Well, you said I said that we should learn from the way they resolve it. Well, I never said that. I say that they are an alternative for resolving issues. And then you mentioned that people move away. If this want to preserve our tradition, why do they move away? Well, they're moving to other parts of the world to better their standard of living, not because they are running away from their culture. They still have their culture at heart, but they are moving away to better their standard of living. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruth Okorocha. Well done. All right, then. Lagos, go ahead and watch. You had 18 seconds left, so that was great time. That was great time management on your part. Oh my, I'm having such a good time. Lagos will take a break. When we come back from this break, we'll see if we have results ready. These results will tell us if there's a draw, if there's a clear winner. It will also let us know who is going to have to wait to see what happens next week between Hameed Olanrewaju and Ramadan Oladipo. Lagos, I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. Don't go away.
Are you a business owner who's looking to boost sales? Check out Paystack Terminal. Paystack Terminal is a POS that helps you accept payments in multiple ways, including ATM cards, bank transfers, and USSD. Additionally, you can track sales in real time on your phone, even if you have multiple terminals in multiple stores. Paystack Terminal also comes with a global SIM card and fast Wi-Fi, so you never have to say the words "no network," and your customers never have to wait to confirm payments. What's more, you can connect Terminal to your existing POS systems, split your payouts into multiple bank accounts, do easy end-of-day accounting, and so much more. Paystack Terminal is the smart choice for ambitious businesses of all sizes. Visit paystack.com/beg to differ to get yours. Again, that's paystack.com/beg to differ.
Some are calling Group B the Group of Death as they beg to differ Tournament of Champions. Hameed Olanrewaju is a past quarter-finalist and finalist and has only ever been beaten by champions. He wants revenge against Tabitha Kaushik and Esther Bewaji, but first he must make it out of this group. Redemption is also calling for Ramadan Oladipupo, the people's champion. Beaten in a controversial semi-final, he's here to prove that maybe he should have been in this group as an actual champion. But that title belongs to Ruth Okorocha. She beat the debater who beat Ramadan. Can she beat him too? Find out this March at the I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions on 99.3 Nigeria Info and Wazobia Max TV.
Lagos, I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, and this has been a debate and a half. The judges have collated the results. They've handed it over to me. Let's see who has won or if this was a draw. In round one presentation, Hameed scored 77. Ruth Okorocha scored 133. For presentation style, and Ruth tie at 33. In the rebuttal round, scores 75. Ruth scores 91. For rebuttal style, and Ruth, well, there's no tie there, so scores 34 and Ruth scores 30. In the closing round, scores 87. Ruth scores 83. For closing style, scores 30. Ruth scores 22. And so with a total of 372 to 336, Ruth Okorocha wins this round. Ruth, this means that you're still in the Tournament of Champions. Congratulations. Well done. You too, Hameed, this is not the end for you. You're going to have one more chance to qualify for the quarterfinal when you face Ramadan Oladipupo next week, Tuesday. If you win that match, all three of you will be tied on wins, and the group will be decided by points scored in each debate. The top two will go through, but if you lose that debate, Hameed, you will be eliminated, with Ramadan winning the group and Ruth coming second. So good luck next week. You and Ramadan will receive your topic this evening. Congratulations, well done. Thank you for giving us a fantastic debate. Both of you, this was beautiful. All right, Lagos, let's talk about what you just heard. 0700-993-993-993 01465-7190. We've got WhatsApp as well. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. Woo! What a debate. 99.3. Hello.
Hello, Sandra. Good evening.
Good evening. What's your name, ma'am?
Happiness from Ikorodu.
Happiness. You sound very happy.
Yeah. Congrats to Ruth, you know.
Yeah.
Now they woke up after presentation.
Lana woke up in rebuttal. Hey, I was like, eh?
When he was speaking, it was a child's play. I gave it to him. He knew that it was a serious thing.
It was really good. Yeah, his rebuttal was fire. 99.3. Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for calling. What's your name, sir?
I'm calling from Lekki.
Talk to me.
In fact, the two young guys, they were on fire. Sandra, I want to ask.
Yes.
Sorry to ask this question.
Okay.
All this debate, is it being written down for them, or are they, saying it off heart?
Off heart, they're saying it from their head.
Wow.
It's not written down anywhere. from their
I think
head.
there are better days ahead for this fellow Nigerian.
I agree.
And I want to beg you for something.
Okay.
Don't allow these ones to go and mingle with those people out there on the streets.
Okay.
Try do everything humanly possible to safeguard them,
Okay.
to keep them for their parents and Nigerians at large.
Okay.
And when you do that, heaven will also remember you for good.
All right. Thanks for calling. 99.3. Hello.
Hi, Sandra.
Hi. What's your name, man?
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is Prudence coming from there.
Prudence, did you hear that debate?
I heard it too. What happened to my guy now? I was expecting so much. I was really looking forward to plenty of it. But in the first part of the debate, it sounded like he was maybe confused or not just ready for it. I don't know, but he did well.
He did.
He did well. Congratulations to him. And congratulations to Ruth. Congratulations to her. She just brought it like a game. Congratulations to her. Congratulations to her. We can't wait for her and Ramadan, my boy.
Well, it's going to be Hameed and Ramadan.
Okay. I was looking for... Okay. The last one was Ruth and
Ramadan.
And
right.
Ramadan, yes.
Yeah.
That was such a debate.
It was. It really was.
Yes. Looking forward to the next one.
Next one is next Tuesday. Thank you so much for calling. Let's take a look at messages on WhatsApp now. We've got this one here without a name. Landry is very good with his closing and point reeling. Ruth is also good, and I like the speed of her delivery. Landry was telling me he didn't want to be in this group. He wanted to be in Group D, that he doesn't like being in groups with people that talk very fast. Ruth was telling me that she wants to be in Group A because she wanted to take vengeance on Chiagozie. Chiagozie knocked her out in March 2021. The very first debate ever on Nigeria Info, or the very first I beg to differ ever, it was her and Chiagozie who was knocked out yesterday. So she was telling me she wanted to be in Group A for revenge. I love it. We've got Edozie Naji who says both debaters were on fire. I was listening with so much interest. These kids have given me more hope that there's still hope for Nigeria. Well done to you and your team, Sandra. Thank you very much, Edozie Naji, for your message. Isaac from Aboro says, good evening, Sandra. These guys are super talented indeed. I love them and I'm happy for them. I'm happy for them as well. Let's take a break and hear from our headline sponsor, Paystack. We cannot thank Paystack enough for walking with us on this journey. So let's hear from our headline sponsor, and then when we come back, we'll take more of your calls.
Are you a business owner who's looking to boost sales? Check out Paystack Terminal. Paystack Terminal is a POS that helps you accept payments in multiple ways, including ATM cards, bank transfers, and USSD. Additionally, you can track sales in real time on your phone, even if you have multiple terminals in multiple stores. Paystack Terminal also comes with a global SIM card and fast Wi-Fi, so you never have to say the words "no network," and your customers never have to wait to confirm payments. What's more, you can connect Terminal to your existing POS systems, split your payouts into multiple bank accounts, do easy end-of-day accounting, and so much more. Paystack Terminal is the smart choice for ambitious businesses of all sizes. Visit paystack.com/beg to differ to get yours. Again, that's paystack.com/beg to differ.
Thank you so much to Paystack. Also, Suno Assurances, our associate sponsor. Suno Assurances says that you pick your way and we take your risk. They provide motor, marine, fire, house owner and householder insurance, and so much more. OBBC.com has prizes for all the debaters, all 12 of them. Also has prizes for the top 3. RLG has tablets for everybody who gets into the quarterfinals. And we also have support from Stover Industries. Stover Industries makes Swiss flower air freshener, Swiss beauty and body care products as well. We also have support from Just Delight non-dairy ice cream, the Nigeria's plant-based ice cream. And they say that it's great for people who are lactose intolerant. Now, I should mention that Hameed Olanrewaju did amazing. You remember that Hameed Olanrewaju scored 336. Those are very high scores. Those are higher scores than scores that we've seen in some matches. So he didn't do bad. He did amazing. It's just that both of them, well, were amazing. It's just like the day that Ruth faced Ramadan last week. They both scored highly and Ruth lost, But that's what the Tournament of Champions is about. You're debating champions. This is what it is. 99.3, hello.
Hi, sir.
How you doing? What's your name, ma'am?
This is Noye, ma'am.
Noye, welcome.
This is your one and only Tankwaya baby.
Good to have you on the show.
Yeah. But Sarah, before I proceed, I would like make up my 1 million Lagosian sounds with your 2.3. I mean, they don't add, man. No. That is like
just go ahead.
Okay, your 2.5 Lagosian sound. Because they all gather, maybe gather. I beg, and then if men they inside, maybe just come out 2 men inside, so they are minus 2. So I could be 2.2 Lagosian sound. You just be cock side.
No, yeah, just go ahead.
Okay, Sandra. Now, song what you say this one.
Okay.
What kind of life is it? Which kind of life? We say all the men just they go, guys. Waiting is so. Women they be waiting is so now. Wala.
All right, thank you very much for calling. 99.3. Hello. Hi. Good evening.
Hello. Good afternoon, Sandra.
How you doing? What's your name, sir?
I'm good. Igwe Victor.
Igwe Victor, welcome. Talk to me.
Ozikwagi. Oh, Sandra, my heart is broken. I don't know why the ladies are dealing with us these days. Okay. Yesterday it was Hamzat. Today is Ruth Okorocha, but all the same, he who the calf feeds, let him wear it. In fact, these guys are wonderful. They're doing a wonderful job.
Yeah.
I say congratulations to Ruth Okorocha. They are wonderful.
They are indeed. Thank you so much for calling. On WhatsApp, we've got this message here that says, Ruth came with a truckload of shades. Girl be throwing shades, piam, like spears and arrows. I love it. But my gender, I was torn between my gender and my tribe, but it's all good. I really want my gender to win this tournament of Yampions. Okay. Thank you very much for your message. 99.3. Hello,
Sandra.
How you doing? What's your name, ma'am?
Oh, this is Jenny.
Hi, Jenny. Can you turn that radio off?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I just did.
Hi.
Yes, this was really wonderful. This is really wonderful.
Yeah.
I want to commend both of them. They did excellently well.
They did.
And there's a request I really want to make.
Okay.
Some of our children are in the boarding school, so they miss out when you have these tournaments
right.
during term time.
Right.
I don't know how we can work towards
doing one during break,
during the holidays.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
So that they can participate. It's really awesome. I try to play it back for my kids when we get back home, but it's not the same when they are, really watching it live and participating.
Yeah.
So please, could you consider that?
Okay. All right. We'll think about it.
Thank you.
All right, Jenny.
Awesome job. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much for calling. 99.3.
Hello, Sandra.
Hi. How you doing?
Yeah. Hello, Sandra.
Yes, hi. What's your name, ma'am?
Okay, it's Mirabelle from Mikoti.
Mirabelle, see debates now.
Sandra, now I know why you call this group the group of death. Because when you were doing the shopping that on Friday, I was saying, no, Sandra, it's a group of death. Now I know why you said it will be the group of death. Because last week Tuesday, you can nominate that Ramadan and Ruth Okorocha as the debate of the week. Today again, this Hameed and Ruth Okorocha, I can easily nominate it as the best tournament for this group stage because it was very close. In fact, I was just wondering if you were moderating. When you were calling the mouth was big. Sandra is doing this thing. I don't want you to go because she's very good. If Hameed wins and she goes, to tell me because she has been very good. But because I've been following the debate since November and May. I know Hameed Olanrewaju, so I know when he brings his A game. Today, he not bring his A game. He's more better than this. I just pray that next week he improves and maybe get a draw against Ramadan.
Against Ramadan. Okay, all right. Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it. Let's go back to WhatsApp. We've got Ibrahim from Bagada who says, what a fantastic debate from both of them. But seriously, this Group B is too tough. I knew Ruth was going to win, Sha, but they both did very well. To be honest, I didn't know who was going to win. They both did very well. I knew that Ruth finished work during the presentation round. However, Hameed came back swinging during the rebuttal round. Ruth was telling me that even she was afraid during the rebuttal round because of the things that Hameed did in the rebuttal round, you know. And then we now heard Ruth's rebuttal of his rebuttal, and then we now heard their closing rounds or more. See, Group B has really talented debaters. I don't know how Lagos managed, because Lagos, at the end of the day, now, when I select this group, so you put them inside the different groups. I don't know how Lagos chose it and put these three people in one group. But my gosh. Imagine if next week Hameed now wins against Ramadan. It means that three of them now have 1-1 win each. You know, so it's not going to be down to points. Oh, my gosh. And they're all so good. Let's go to WhatsApp. We've got this message from Ladi. Ladi says, Ruth should use her time to the last blaze of the whistle, like Esther Bewaji. She should also be more creative and dynamic in her presentation style. With this, she would give anyone a run for their money. All right, that's where we'll draw the curtains. We will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to have Emanuela Nadi facing Fabian Chibundu for the second debate from Group C. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. Up next is headlines. When the headlines are done, let's talk about the elections in Rivers State. If you are from Rivers State, we'll go to your state today and talk about how elections went down there. Don't go away, Lagos.
Stay on track with...
And I want to assume that you would run because I want to give the listeners context for the conversation.
In 2019, you were running late to Atiku Abubakar. What did you learn then that you will not repeat this time?
Yes, when is the president coming out to address us?
There's a few things. One, I have a burden and a passion for young people.
The fact that you have elected a man does not mean then you begin to order him around. The president will do whatever is good for the country at any given time.
Mr. Adeshino, isn't the president responsible to the people?
What should the next president do to root out stakeholders who are complicit?
You fire those that need to be fired are fired.
It's looking like a brand new Chelsea, attacking with so much fluidity. And what can you say about that, Martin? I know you follow Chelsea quite closely.
I live close to the Chelsea training ground. That's what you mean by that. I'm not.